take a peek at what's going on. The first episode is out January 15. Stars, as I say, has done all the art so far. We'll be using one or two other people. The cover art is by a legendary cover artist, Bill Sinkiewicz. Of course, it wasn't the first time I've done comic art. We did a bit for Iron Maiden, and it was kind of cool. And that's what gave me the idea. Wow, comics and music. Wow, there's a marriage made in heaven and hell, right? Brilliant. So a few years ago, actually 2014, I was thinking about making a new solo album. Last one was Tyranny of Souls, before that we had The Chemical Wedding, before that Accident at the Birth. There's been 7 of them. So I was finding some songs, and whilst I was doing it, I was thinking, great, we're going to go and do this after the Maiden album, The Book of Souls. Well, I got unfortunately very sick. I had throat cancer. It was a whole year out of my life. Then in 2017 we came back, and yeah, it was Maiden all year because we lost a year. Then I went, now I'm going to go and work on the record. No, COVID, 3 years, 7 years out of my life between 2014 and 2021. And during that time, I started writing this story. It's a 12-episode graphic novel. It's going to take 2.5 years for the whole thing to come out. The Afterglow of Ragnarok is the single, the first track. And tonight, here at Comic-Con, you're going to hear the world premiere, see the world premiere of the video. Is that cool? Is that fucking cool? Alright? So that's what we're going to see. And I'm a big fan of all horror movies, and so is the director. We kind of like hammer horror stuff, you know. So we made him a poster, and we had some fun with it along the way. No idea what. I talked about Bill Sinkiewicz. There is Bill's art for the opening shot of the MANDRAKE project. It's not the album cover, it's the cover of the first edition of the comic, and there's one volume, there's 4 comics, and we've got 12 comics, so it's a 3-volume. It's a trilogy. Strange fucking noise. Anyway, that's what the single cover looks like. Afterglow of Ragnarok. And now we're going into a graveyard. Now this is some art from the first episode of the comic, in which he's not really our hero, he's a pretty fucked up guy, Dr. Necropolis, an orphan digital genius that happens to live in this world and the other world at the same time. But at the beginning of the episode 1, he's going into the graveyard of the English poet William Blake, and he's going to be raising the spirit of William Blake as his spirit guide to find the voice that tortures his brain. That's the opening first half of the comic. I'll just tell you that for free, but you can see the pictures. I also did a little prequel comic, which is in the single. So there's a special 8-page prequel to episode 1 that's in the single, and I think there's some art from it there. That's Dr. Necropolis. Basically, he's taken a trip using the mandrake juice, which is a hallucinogenic. If you take too much, it'll kill you. So he's taken, I'm not going to tell you how much, probably close to too much, as you'll see if you read the comic. But he has a trip in which he meets a weird shaman who tells him life, the universe and everything and destruction of mankind. He sees it all and then something else happens, which you have to find out. You have to look at the comic art to figure out what happens next. When I did this, it was weird because, you know, you do the comic, you write the characters, you write the story, you write the backstory that created the story. I've got pages of this stuff, right? And then we thought, well, we have to make a video of this. So I wrote a treatment for a video and looked at the treatment that I'd written. I went, well, I think this is kind of cool, but there's no way we can afford to make this video. It's like a movie, right? So I thought, what shall I do? Why not make it into a comic? Because a comic is basically almost a movie anyway. So I started turning it into a comic format for 8 pages, and that is with the single. We're including that with the single. Anyway, then I find this great video director, Ryan McFall. And I said to him, you can really do the video for this amount of money? He went, yep, I can. I said, well, what are you going to do? I mean, what kind of video are you going to do? And he said, I'm going to do the video that's in the comic. I mean, how are you going to do that for that amount of money? Well, you're going to find out, because guess what? It's going to be a world premiere of the video down. Do you want to see the video now? Well, you can't. It's not time. It's not time. We have to tease you a little bit more. Shall I just leave that picture up there for a while? This is a grown-up comic, right? So I should add that it has sex and drugs. No, there's no rock and roll yet. Or maybe I can change that about episode 3. So there's sex and drugs and the occult and science and corruption and abuse and family abuse. It's a dark, dark story. I think you'll love it. It'll cheer you up. Your life could never be as bad as the poor fucker that I've written in this comic. Anyway, Dr. Necropolis, that's him and his sex magic partner, Leah, going at it to do something, which you'll find out when you have a look at the comic. Just to give you a flavour of the kind of stuff we do. This is Necropolis tripping. This is in the 8-page prequel. The shaman has showed him the world around his head, the world of the future, and in fact, somewhere in there, there's a drum kit up the top. There's a drum kit in my future anyway. So we did that as a little gag. And of course, he's looking for the grave of William Blake, and stands through the actual gravesite. The whole thing, the environment, absolutely bang on. It's amazing. I've been there. I've been to the grave of William Blake. I have a piece of William Blake's gravestone, which they sent me after they rediscovered where he was buried, and they asked me to go and do some singing in the graveyard when they rededicated the grave to William Blake. Do you know who William Blake is or was? If you don't, you've got to go and find out, because he's the most rock and roll artist on the planet. You know, artist, poet, visionary, everything. Anyway, we won't go there for now. So this is an incredible story. So I turned up at the grave of William Blake, newly discovered, and did a bit of singing. Funnily enough, would you like a bit of singing? Okay, so I don't know what song to sing because do you know Revelations by Iron Maiden? That's kind of appropriate because you know I did the story for Revelations in the Iron Maiden book, and there's the opening verse, you know, which is kind of Lakian. It's actually from a hymn, you know, the oh God was an altar, bow down and hear our cry. Our earth was falter, our people drift and die. The walls of gold and tumors, the stars of storm divide. Take not thy thunder from us, but take away our pride. There you go. So in the spirit of William Blake, we'll be back. I'll be back in Brazil. Next year, next April. Take a good look. I think you can actually buy gig tickets on some kind of special deal here at Comic-Con for the next few days, like a special thing, because I know tickets in Brazil, it's a weird thing, you know, you have to pay. It's the only thing where if you buy them online, you have to pay more. That's insane. It's insane, right? What a piece of bullshit that is. But anyway, it's you know, you should do something about that. Hey Lula, fucking fix that, will you? Do something useful. So anyway, there is the MANDRAKE project, there is the tour, and we also, Iron Maiden did a cartoon as well. The writing on the wall, okay? And the guy that gave me the idea, because I did the story to the writing on the wall, the 4 bikers of the apocalypse, all of them alien. That came from a guy called Kurt Sutter. Kurt Sutter was the writer who wrote The Shield, who wrote The Sons of Anarchy, and I actually developed the MANDRAKE project story on a whole bunch of Zoom calls with him. And I said, Kurt, I've got this crazy idea for a story. And he goes, that's actually a really good idea. I went, really? Coming from you, that's pretty damn cool. So that's why that slides in there, just to talk about Kurt and to talk about the inspiration that he gave me. And that kind of turned into the MANDRAKE project and the video and everything else. Oh, and there is, halfway through, there is Dr. Necropolis in the underworld being expelled by the spirit of William Blake from the river that runs in between the gates of hell and wrapped in chains of light. Kind of a cool image. That's the last image you're going to see from the comic book we've got here. It's a special CCXP one because it's only half the story of episode 1. The rest of it is going to be in January. Anybody interested in January and having a look at the whole damn thing, alright? Right. So, do you think we should we play the video? Okay, so there are people watching on YouTube right now. They are waiting to be given the green light. Cry havoc, let's slip the dogs of war on this video. So I can't hear you. Do you want to hear the video? But no, we're going to play you the video. On we go. go. Let's go. People worked a long time on that video, and we did it. Somebody saw the video. I'm not going to tell you how much it cost. The record label guys saw it and said, "My God, how did you get all that money to make that video? We didn't give it to you." You know? He thought the video was going to cost like $250,000. I went, no. It's a great bit of English filmmaking. And actually, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going down to the west of England, and we're going to be making a second video, which you might be able to enjoy when the CÓMIC comes out at the beginning of January. Of course, in April, we're going to be here. We might even be making a video in Brazil when we do some of the shows. So, yeah, that's basically it. There's the MANDRAKE project that covers, that's the CCXP version. I think in a minute I'm going to be doing some questions with somebody. I'm not sure whether I'm doing it here or whether I'm doing it around some other thing. But, you know, we've had the work premiere. Would you like the world